Yo, what up everybody? It's your boy the Kryptonian saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 658. And you know, I gotta start with that ending, man. I gotta start with that ending. Smoker got a huge set of balls on him. Like a huge set of balls. Like we got a hint pre-time skip that Smoker had a big set of cojones on him. But this is crazy, man. This is crazy. So he sees the Smoker. He says, yeah, I don't care if it's poisonous. It might be something to do with Dr. Vegapunk. Who really cares? I don't see Straw Hat Luffy's ship anywhere. We don't have time for this. Go straight through this. It just shows you he's got a real serial hard on for Luffy. Like, he's as determined to capture Luffy as Hinata was to get the ramen noodle doodle of Naruto Uzumaki. Like, this is crazy how determined he is to catch Luffy. So I like that right there. And he's probably even more so determined now that he knows, like, this is for sure Dragon's son. It will be a hell of a badge of honor for Smoker to get. But the revelation at the end of this chapter, it does two things. It gives me hope. It gives me hope that this fight with Aokiji and Akainu, whenever I get caught up in the anime, as you guys know, the anime's pacing is so slow for me. I can't really watch the anime, but whenever I get caught up, that's going to be an amazing fight to see, man, because you can't just tease like this, because apparently these two were so strong, their clash was so epic, that it alters the climate of the island. And at first I said, that's pretty cool, but then it hit me. I said, wait a second. On the red line, not the red line, in the New World, when you get to the New World, everything is so crazy. Like, you need like 3 of those little spinning things for the log poles in order to get an idea of which direction to go. And so the fact that they're putting out this level of power, it tells me 2 things. The first thing, if the 3 admirals, when Luffy charged them all the way back in Marineford, I was getting all hyped and shit. If they would have been dead serious, Luffy would have been killed right there on the spot. I think that they saw him as a bit of an annoyance, and I think that they said, probably don't need to go all out against this kid because he's probably going to get killed in the fighting. Because there were some pretty strong guys who were mixing it up at that point, and it just doesn't make sense to expend so much energy to get rid of such a small fry. So I totally get it now. I totally get it. Admiral disrespect, man. Admiral disrespect. I'm seeing it more and more. And the second thing that I see is, so their climate. One half is hot, one half is cold. Those are the devil fruit powers of Aokiji and Akainu. So that tells me, holy shit, when they said they were fighting to the death and fighting seriously, this makes me wonder, how fucking strong was Roger? The fact that you got guys like this, how strong was Prime Rayleigh? Because old man Rayleigh was able to mix it up with Kizaru. So how strong was Roger? This is nuts, man. This is nuts. Like, Luffy has such a high bar to clear now. Such a high bar. And the other thing is because, you know, Shanks shows up and Shanks says, hey, stop this fighting, and the admirals kind of, you know, went with it. One-arm Shanks, maybe 3-on-1 is me reaching, but he could probably take 1 or 2 of them down if he fought them. So, I mean, Luffy's got a long way to go. So, going back into the actual chapter of itself, it picks up right where the last one left off. You got these giant-sized kids, and it's pretty funny how you have one of them say, hey, it's a talking raccoon dog. And it's just like, oh, you got the running gag with Chopper going again, and then you got the other one saying, hey, curly eyes. And what got me on that is in the SBS corner before this chapter, Oda was asked, when are you going to update Sanji's wanted poster? And that's what got me. I'm like, wait a second, he's done a whole bunch of shit. He was on Sayabody and didn't get his wanted poster updated. So again, what's Oda doing with this? He's the only Straw Hat who clearly has a wanted poster that doesn't look like him. So what's Oda doing with this? Like, if you guys will remember, when you go back to when the Straw Hats were first getting bounties, one of the things that Sanji looked for was he grabbed the paper. And I don't remember when that was. I want to say this was either right after they got to the Grand Line, and so that would be after Whiskey Peak, because I think that's when Zoro got his bounty. But that's what's interesting to me, though, right? Like, the fact that Sanji paid particular interest. And on one hand, I was like, well, maybe Sanji, you might have been thinking like, hey, I can probably get into some sugar walls like this. But on the other side, it's just like he was very quick to say, do I have a bounty? So I mean, I don't know. Oda's doing something with this, and I can't put my fingers on it. But the fact that it's in the SBS corner, it highlights that that is something. Because one of the things I've noticed is some of the questions, they're random questions, but at the same time, some of them in the volume formats, they foreshadow what's getting ready to happen. And so the fact that Oda's bringing this up again and it's being placed here, I'm probably going to get my answers sometime in this volume. Now, with that being said, going back to the interaction with those kids, I love how you get the human element of things, right? Because when these kids are talking about how I want to see my mom and dad and how they're basically held captive here, and you got Franky's running. Franky's like, fuck this, I don't babysit. You got Sanji saying, man, that push sucks, so we gotta go. And even when Chopper is asking what they should do, one of the things that you get is Franky says, hey, we just met these kids. We don't know if they're telling the truth or not. But Nami stops. And the reason why that is so big is when she stops and she stops running, she looks and she's looking in the faces of all these kids. And as she's looking at them, I guarantee you, she was thinking about how when she was around that age, she was with Arlong. And Arlong, she was getting beat. She was having to steal from pirates. She was being treated like the worst of the worst. Emotionally, she went through a toll. She was separated from the people that she cared about. The person that she loved, I think Belle Marie, what ends up happening is she ends up getting shot right in front of her all along. Bam, makes her a spaghetti head. And she's looking at all these faces. And she says, we got to save these kids. We can't turn our back on them. And this is what I love about this, right? This is what I love. See, Nami understands something that's very fundamental. And it's what Sanji said too. And I understand what Sanji was saying there, and I'm going to get that in a second. But when he's saying, Nami, when she's only nice to kids, is a turn on and everything. We get to that. But one of the things on this that Nami is showing, and it might be, that maternal instinct or whatever, but one of the things that you're seeing is Nami understands that when it comes to kids and just the next generation and everything, it's your duty. If you have those kids and they're in need, it's your duty to at least see if there's something you can do. See if there's something you can do to kind of put them back on the right track. Get them going how they're supposed to go. Like ideally, you expect kids to be the best versions of you from a parental standpoint. You expect, and I'm not a parent, but I'm just talking to you though. Like, you expect them to be the best versions of you, but they also got the fucked up parts of you. But beautiful thing with kids is you get that opportunity. If you were a piece of shit before, you get an opportunity to make that right, because you can keep that kid from being a piece of shit. So some people run from it, like my old man did. Typical stereotype for an African American male, but it is what it is though. And so when you look at that, what's really big is Nami saying, essentially, these are all my kids. I'm not leaving them here. They have a similar experience as me. I went through something like this with Arlong. I'd be no better than Arlong if I left these kids and I knew they were in trouble. I'd be no better. She's not making them, get gold, and she's not doing all these crazy things with them and making them work against their will or whatnot, but they're in a fucked up situation and she has the power to do something to stop it. So I like that. And that's when you got Sanji and Franky, they're all getting into action, they're mixing it up, and I thought that was so beautiful. And what was also really good, and this is going back to character interaction, when you had Sanji say he's getting turned on by Nami and falling in love all over again, I mean, it is something, man. It is something. I don't know, it might just be because of where I'm at or whatnot, but I mean, it is something you pay attention to. It's like, oh wow, she's fucking with a kid. Oh, okay, you're doing this. Oh, that's pretty cool right there. Oh wow, okay, you're really good with kids. You start paying attention to shit like that, man. And if you're with somebody, it is something that does come up in conversations, man. So what I found interesting on the side note of this is I was wondering what was going on with Brook, and that's exactly what happened. Brook, they're like, ha, yeah, Oda's like, yeah, I totally didn't have them take Brook. They saw the skeletons. Brook's probably looking up like, yeah, I see no panties. I'm playing dead. Then all of a sudden, wakes up, kicks everybody's asses, gets the transponder snail, warns Luffy and them, and Luffy is fucking around with those pair of legs. Apparently, he's got something that looks like a centaur, and he's like, what do you mean? You thought we were friends. Why can't we be friends? It's like, you hit me. Luffy hits his ass again, just the same way Nami hits that talking head. And Luffy's just like, why can't we be friends? I love it. I totally love it. And like, one of those little kids, like the boy, he's got the big eyes and he sees Franky. It kind of reminded me of Luffy in that moment, man. It seems like something Luffy would have did if Luffy was a kid and he saw Franky. So I thought that was pretty interesting how you had that, and then at the same time when they're getting the information, the different straw hats that are with Luffy, so that'd be Zoro, that would be Usopp, and that'd be Nico Robin, right? What I found interesting about that is once they get the information, they tell Brook, like, give me the surroundings. And Nico Robin's running through all the scenarios. And that's what I was talking about a few chapters ago. I said, the thing is if they're going to make it through the new world, and in particular this island here, they're going to have to learn to trust Nico Robin's survival instincts. Because I give her a bunch of shit. I troll her a lot, but the woman is a survivor. And Oda kind of foreshadowed that a little bit here, because one thing she said was, she said some dark and gloomy shit. I'm going to paraphrase, but what she basically said was like, yeah, they probably got lined up by a firing squad. This probably isn't a good idea. And Usopp's like, hey, you just stop that right there. And it's the humor in there. But again, Nico Robin has those instincts. Because as she says that, Nami and them are in trouble. So, I mean, it's very, very interesting. And even then, like when you look at Nami, when she says we need to save these kids, there's probably something going on there. There's something that's going to tie back into that. So again, you have to trust these two. On one hand, that has nothing to do with navigation, at least not in the sense that Nami is used to, navigating the waters, but navigating through a situation like this, going with that gut instinct, that's probably something you need to listen to her with. Same thing there. And if there is a way to get these kids back to their parents, she can probably navigate those waters in order to do so. I thought that was interesting. And the other thing I thought was interesting, I'm going to close my chapter out with this. The other thing I thought was pretty interesting is when you got that bird-like creature, and one of the things that she's doing is she's looking around and she's saying, yeah, okay, there's 4 targets to take out. And because of the way that the panel was drawn, I'm not sure if she was actually the person that they were referring to as master. Like the men that were in those suits. I'm not sure if that's who they're referring to as master. If it is her, then it's pretty smart in the fact that she's hanging out on this island. And the reason why that's smart is nobody's going there because Punk has her. Apparently there's a connection with Vegapunk with the steam and everything, the poisonous gas. And Aokiji and Akainu's battle was so epic, so great. It changed the climate of the island. Nobody goes there. Therefore, if you're trying to hide out, that's probably the best place. The reason being is nobody's going to think to look for you there. So, I mean, I like that. And with Smoker, even if he doesn't capture Luffy, he's on to something here. He's on to something, because once he gets there, it's like he has spider sense, or what I like to call his nutsack. His nutsack is itching. His nutsack is itching, and he knows, like, wait a second, something ain't right here. So what I want to ask you guys is, when you got to this part of the story, right, which storyline were you more interested in? Were you more interested in what was going on with Nami's groups? That'd be Nami and Franky and Chopper and Sanji, or were you more interested in Robin's group? And I'm going to lump Brook into that simply for the fact that Robin's group is trying to link back up with Brook. But which of those storylines were you more interested in? With me, I'm kind of split down the middle. I really can't choose. I almost want to lean, I know it's going to sound blasphemous, I almost want to lean a little towards Nico Robin, because again, it's something about those survival instincts that she has that tells me that wherever there's going to be danger, especially because she's got Luffy there, wherever there's going to be danger, she's going to be the one to find it. And because of that, she's probably going to be the one that gets them out of the situation, at least by thinking up here. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Have an awesome